to approve.
Move to approve, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, super, thank you. Next, we're gonna go into old business, and under old business, the one item that we had that was hanging out there, there's a couple of them actually. We had the issue with the basketball court, basketball hoop over on Magnus Street. What's the name of that street? Lane, okay. I knew it was Shelmer something. So Shelmer Lane. And so anyway, that's been rectified, it's off the street, it's free from traffic. Now, when the young man's out there playing, you know, we've asked to, you know, put a cone out so you can see when you're coming around there. So hopefully that'll work.
Can I comment on that?
Yeah.
Is Magda here tonight?
Yeah.
Magda sent a very nice email thanking the board for all the work that you guys did in having that resolved.
Super, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, another board issue, which I'm not gonna go into, is the new property, not new property, it's the build property over there with the Reeds. And so I'm not gonna talk about that tonight, because I don't have anything to say. There was a special meeting held, when was that special meeting? A week ago,
Yeah.
Tuesday. Okay, we held a special meeting, and I think we answered all the questions at that time, so I'm not gonna bring it up here. If you have questions about that, you can ask later on or send in an email. We did have a request, and I know Mark has seen it, I acknowledge, Bob's, and I forget Bob's last name, your brother. Allman? Yeah. He, there was a ditch alongside his property that was kind of overgrown, and we cleaned that out now, so it's clear all the way to the culvert. And so, hopefully, with all this rain, it's going through. So, that's all I can say. So, we're glad to get that cleaned up with Bob. And, I will say, I'll save that for new business, so let's move on. Any other old business, guys? No? Great, thank you. New business. Let's see. We had and I like this because we were doing it in a cordial fashion. There was somebody, a neighbor, that noticed 893 was getting a little overgrown. And when I say little, I'm being kind. It's a mess. But we were notified about that. I personally went over and looked at it. I checked the house out. The power's off at the house, the water's off at the house, and everything's off except the weeds. They're still there. But I called the family member. I found out that the gentleman, and I don't know them, but the gentleman is in New York and the wife is in Hawaii. I don't know how that works out, but
He died.
oh, he's not in New York?
No, well, okay, maybe in New York, but not in the living.
Okay, I stand corrected. He said he's dead, so we'll pass on that. But anyway, she went to Hawaii. I talked to the daughter. The daughter I emailed, texted, and called, and then I got a call back from their realtor who was working because the house is going in foreclosure, and so they're working on trying to get that straightened out so they can sell it. And the realtor was going to notify the family and say, you gotta keep it on a service and get the yard straightened up, cleaned up, so that should be going on. We should not have a problem with that in the future, but we'll continue to monitor that. And I encourage any neighbor that's out there, if you see a problem, and sometimes it's because of an illness or a death in the family, that something's awry, and bring it to our attention. We're not bashful. We'll find out what's going on and we want the place to stay as nice looking as we can. So let's go ahead and do that. The Architectural Standard Committee now has their minutes on the website. This says, Lee, is that true?
I created a line for them on these, so if you go to the tab that says minutes, meeting minutes, you have board meeting minutes, down there on ASC.
Okay, super.
Is that gonna work all right, Carl? If I just send them to you?
Yeah, that, as a matter of fact, I prefer that.
Okay.
And if you could just send them to me like you did, either in an email or get them in a subject to form or whatever, I will just take that and post them
That's
on the
what I thought.
website.
Okay, all right, great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. We just had a couple routine, my request to do roof.
It's not your turn to talk yet.
Sir?
It's not your turn to talk yet. We're only talking about you on the website.
I thought you were asking.
No, I wasn't. I'll call you back later.
I might not be here.
If you go for the door, I'll call you immediately. Thanks, Lee. I like it when they're anxious to give their speech. Okay, so another new thing, in case you haven't seen, there's a sign, digital sign working at the front. Mike has done a great job with that, getting items posted on that sign. It works real well at night. During the day, it's a little iffy, you gotta squint to see it. But it was a relatively cheap fix and it was worth a try. We can upgrade. I mean, the unit costs $138, and then the little gizmo that Mike recommended to make it run cost another $36. So for under $200, it's not bad. And so if you have anything that needs to go on that sign, we encourage you to use it. I would get with Mike and talk about the fonts that he needs so it can be seen quickly and see it quickly as people are driving by and looking at it. So I think that works well. What we also did, and it was so hot in that shed, as Denny knows, we ended up insulating that shed, cut the heat down, and we put a vent in there so it'll circulate some air. And we're going to monitor that, see how it goes. Because any of the electronic equipment, whether it's the stuff for the gate or the cameras or that one sign, we really need to keep it as cool as possible. So we'll continue to watch that and see how it goes. But hopefully you all have seen that and appreciate that done. All right, let's move on. There's nothing else new to anybody. Now we're going to go into board meeting reports. Sam asked that we have an update on the orchard.
I did get let me, if I could, I did get an email from Mike Newell, okay? Apparently there's at the end of the Masters,
The trees.
The tree,
Trees,
there
I
with
got
the
those.
overhanging branches and the school buses, because they all, anything that comes back there has to make that U-turn. And the buses and especially moving vehicles, run into the branches. And he did include the fact that over the years I've had at least 3 moving van companies roll into my yard with large rigs and disable my irrigation system at the tune of $2,500 per pop. And he would like to know if there could be some vetting of move-ins as far as the size of their vehicles, that they would scope the area first and make sure that the tractor trailers can fit.
That's a tricky one. We get that down our street where they drive all the way down without looking at a map, and then they gotta back all the way up, so.
And there's damage to the gate.
Yes, yeah, let's not count all the damage to the gate. Yes, this neighborhood isn't designed for big trucks. And so, I would recommend to that gentleman that, he could get some boulders and put around there and protect his irrigation, if they wheel around there.
It's also the garbage trucks. It's a weekly problem.
Garbage
Yeah.
truck?
This tree is massive and huge, and the branches really hang it. And I've noticed in the last month, I'm not sure who on our street, but they've needed emergency services. So we've had, 2 sets of ambulances, 2 sets of fire trucks coming down our street, and they have to go and turn around down there. So this tree really and it truly needs to be had.
Okay,
Shut up.
we'll get it trimmed. We'll get it trimmed. I had that on my list, but Carl beat me to it. But we'll get on that. We'll get that done. All right, Sam had asked that we have the org chart up. Now, we're missing a few that are gonna be added to this, I think. And just so you know what's been discussed, and we'll talk about that a little more into the meeting. We talked about, with Don Yocum as our finance chair, he is the only one that we have, and we really don't have a backup on that. We really need a finance committee where people know what's going on there, and we have backup, and that's something that has to happen. So we'll talk about that. And then the other thing we noticed is probably missing is a nomination committee or a nomination election committee. So when it's time to get ready to vote, that we have the proper procedures in place to follow the rules, regulations, and the laws have already been set on how to nominate, how to run for an office position, and then how to get elected. You know, so.
We already have an election committee in place.
Okay, well then we may marry those up.
Together.
Okay, that one that was in place was for review of the last committee. So I didn't look at that as ongoing, I look at that as one and done. We've gone through that. So whether we continue to use or merge some together, that's something we have to talk about and bring together. So, okay. All right, this is up on the website now, I believe, Carl, correct?
Yes, it is, but Sam seems to think that, it's not complete, we need to redo it.
We're still gonna work on it. It's a work in progress.
Okay.
Yeah, this was as of March.
When the work in progress is done, just let me
It
have
may
it so
never
that
be done.
I can post it.
It may never be done. Just as of March, that's it. But, yeah, we're gonna talk about that, we add those two, especially in the finance committee and that. And if anybody's got a hanker to play with numbers and work with the finance, work with Don, let any one of us know and we'll get your name on a list, that'd be good. Same with nominating committee, if you're interested in help with that. It may merge up with the election committee, but let us know. Because what I'm seeing this year is we're getting a lot of participation from a lot of the community. And that's what makes for a good community, because we all work together for the betterment of the community. So I appreciate all of what you all have done, and we'll just continue on with that. Okay, let's see what's next. Board members' reports. Oh, look. That had Vice President. I don't have anything else to bring in at the time. So I will pass. I basically told you everything that was going on that we knew about. The treasurer, oh boy, I think he sent in a report. Does that look like it? Okay, so, let me see if I'm reading this right. Year-to-date budget, 146,520. We got 86,865. Let's see if there's any change in any of the other ones. We got CDs 8 at 4.5 to 5.4543. That's pretty good. Money market, variable. It's not a good solid number. But anyway, between the two of them, there's 450,000. So I don't know if anybody has any particular questions about these. Yeah. So far, so good? All right. Let's see. Okay, member statements were sent out 9 July, so everybody should have that that's quarter 3. And I think I got an email that said there's 18 people that are delinquent. and some of those, because they travel or whatever, they miss, or they're been sick or whatever, but, if you know anybody that's may need some help, just check with them and let them know that they're due. Let's see. 9 July, 9 June, those are already over with. The 24 audit, we already talked about in the past. I think all of that is in good shape. Anybody has any questions, holler out. Secretary,
I continue to get emails of members that are having issues logging into the website. It is very encouraging that everyone is using the website. It really is a place where you can get all information. And I want to thank Mike Azar for the work that he's done in updating the website. It is very user-friendly and it is very attractive. So please continue to use the website. And should you want to communicate with the board, all you have to do is shoot an email to Stoa, and everyone on the board gets your email, and we will respond to it. We do have 4 members that would like to speak tonight, and we will address that at the conclusion. And that's all I have.
okay. Thank you. And that website, in case you don't know, to access some of the information, you actually have to be logged in.
You have to be logged in.
Yeah, we had some people go, I went to the website, I didn't see what I was looking for, the minutes or whatever, but you gotta be logged in. So if you have trouble logging in or whatever, contact Mike, he's got nothing else to do. He'll help you get on. But I will say the web team's done a fabulous job with that. I think it looks great. There's a lot of nice information on there. Even with the fact that the golf course providing rounds of golf for what we contribute to them as a show of appreciation, that's all on there and shows you how it works, so, and what you're entitled to. So it's good to go in there and look at that, and so you know what you're entitled to. So I'm really pleased with the way the website's going. The website also is at the point where we're testing out whether we can do online bill pay. I shouldn't call it bill pay, but our assessment pays, doing those online and stuff like that, where we hope to get to in the future. So we're going to continue to work on that, and we'll report later in the year on that. Okay, so.
Can I say something? I think we should allow him putting the guidelines.
Don't be too nice, he might start charging. No, great job, Mike, we appreciate it. And in the midst of doing all this on the IT, he's tearing his whole yard up in the back and cleaning it up, it really looks great.
Well, that is true, but I do have to say Isabella's, most of she's made it pretty functional for the most part.
Good.
She's happy.
Good, yeah, good job, thank you. Yeah, thank you, guys. Appreciate it, and I, for one, I'm just happy to see young people involved in the community. I don't know about the rest of you. Us old people are like, oh, we're just waiting around for somebody to pat us in the face with a shovel. But these guys, I'm just glad to see them here. So thank you all for being here, and thanks for what you do for the community. All right, Denny.
Technically, I don't have anything of significance, but I think it might be worth noting. I gave Mike, since we're talking about the website, I was reviewing the website, and under the entrance gate, it states, I think you have to kind of go down where it goes to some factor. I think it's called the hub, and in the hub there's a heading that says entrance gate. And in there, there's an erroneous statement saying that a new member gets given a clicker or a remote, and that's
For
like
$45.
Yeah, for $45. And I've added that to poor Mike's workload to take care of that. I gave him a copy of it a while ago. And, but I just want to make sure everybody, if they've read that, to know that there is a cost for each clicker of $45, as Pete has said. However, the redeeming grace is if you move away, you can turn it in and get your $45 back. So it can be technically called a deposit, but most people tend to just keep them, and hopefully we don't want anybody moving away anyway. So, but that's one thing I think is worth noting if someone looked at that and got the wrong idea that they didn't get their remote yet. And I tend to talk to all of that whenever the time comes for somebody needing either the entrance code that the keypad or the gate clicker itself. So I don't have anything else. The gate's been working real good. Knock on wood, you know, like that.
Thank you, Danny, appreciate it. And while we're talking about this, I noticed some pretty cups up here. What's this about?
That's the new welcoming gift. I
Oh.
don't know if my slide's up there or not, though.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess we'll get to that when we get there. But they're cute. If you haven't seen them, come up and look at them.
Where's the third one?
I know. I guess you guys don't get one. Okay, we're gonna start off. Lee, are you still here?
Yes, sir. Real quick, we had a couple of routine things, I don't think. A roof replacement, a tree had to be cut down, which raised some questions. I got a couple other people. If there is a tree on your property that's 6 inches in diameter or more, our standards say that you have to request dealing with that tree through the architectural standards committee. In this case, there's one that's just dead as a doornail, needed to come down because it's going to be a hazard if it fell. So that is in there. Sometimes one person's going guns, my yard, my tree, sort of thing. A lot of places that's true. Here, if it's a substantial size tree, both the county and our standards want somebody besides the homeowner involved in dealing with that tree. Our president, a month or two ago, had a wonderful idea that Mike and I should collaborate on getting the architectural standard committee, the request form online. So then a homeowner could just, they don't have to get in touch with me, and I bring one over, they can download it, print it, fill it out, and they get it to me. Mike found out when we collaborated that if I try to do anything electronically toward the website, it'll crash and it'll never get retrieved. So, like so many other things, it fell in his lap to get done, and that's on the way to be available on the website. Probably, I think, by our next meeting, we'll be able to tell you where that is. Right? Okay? All done?
Good, thanks. You can sit down. Well, Sam was so nervous about me being up here that he rushed through that surgery. I hope your patient's okay. Just to get here and save the day. It's on you.
I want to apologize for being late, folks. I appreciate everybody being here on time, and I'm sorry I'm late. So thank you for getting started without me, Pete, and everybody. And thank you for your report, Lee. Right on to the website and IT committee report. Michael, do you have anything? I have a couple questions I threw up here for you, but.
Sure, not much this month, just a few gatehouse ads, some user registration issues, we got those resolved. A couple of people had multiple, I can yell if you.
You can, but then the tone will go real high and it'll sound real girly and.
A couple users were registered multiple times, so we got those fixed. And got the paint color survey out, and we are working on the online automated payment system testing. That's it for the most part. And the gate payments, that's what
So you hit two things I wanted to talk about. One is the surveys. I saw a lot of email traffic on this. Everybody get a chance to check those out? Okay, no show of hands. Okay, I think it's a great way to query our community. I think there were about 40 people who responded to that survey? Yeah, so, you know, in a community of 200, to have 40 people, 20%, that's pretty good. I think that's a great first time, so I think there's definitely some future to that. And as far as the website updates, one of the things, and I'll get to it back, I'll come back to it, but the updates are very good. I'd like you to continue to update me so I can throw it up here so you can remind you.
Sure, sorry about that, I meant to need it to be.
It's a work in progress. One of the things I wanted to say, and it was kind of like the most important thing I was going to say tonight, is that I perceive our role as serving you. Our job is to help, lead and to help facilitate the process, but I don't want us being the people doing all the decisions. That's a throwback to a type of leadership that was present before us, and I don't want to go there. I want these committees that we're going through right now to be action committees that come up with plans, work with their board reps, and then we bring those to a discussion and we act on them. So with that being said, it's not going to be me telling you what to do on these board things. Hopefully you're having some input from some of the community people. You should ideally maybe even toss out there, hey, I'm gonna have a web board meeting, etc., a web meeting that we can talk about. I know I'm pushing that with some of the other boards that are coming, committees that are coming up. So think of the committees as working committees. Ultimately, that's where the work is going to be done. All right, next, Mr. Don.
We regret to report that we had to cancel Saturday's luau dinner because of the low participation by the community. For me, the theme, whether it's thank you. Whether it's a luau, Oktoberfest, or something else, really isn't important. What matters is the opportunity to come together as neighbors, share a meal, enjoy a drink, and have good conversation. Unfortunately, fewer and fewer people have been choosing to take part. In recent years, our community has dimmed the community spirit. The warm connection and camaraderie that once made this neighborhood such a special place to live has been harder to find. I'd hoped with a new board we might see a return of that neighborly spirit. Unfortunately, there remains a few people that are somewhat negative. For months, we've asked for 2 new volunteers to join the social committee, but no one has stepped forward. You know, it's easy to sit on the sidelines and take pot shots, but we really do need some help. I look around this room, and I hardly see any of you that have attended some of the major dinners, except for a handful of you. SPOA has worked to keep the price down to only $10, so it's affordable, but it's an opportunity for you to come out and enjoy the community and foster some relationships. Even when the meal is absolutely free, as with our Thanksgiving dinner, many of you choose to not participate at all and stay home. I do not do this to criticize, but to express my disappointment and to be honest about the reality we face. Perhaps what's needed now is fresh ideas and new leadership to help us reignite the sense of goodwill and connection that we all want. With that in mind, I'm resigning as chairman of the social committee, effective immediately. Barb Holmgren and Sue Ellen Olson also resign. We wish the next leader great success and hope the community will rally behind it.
Well, Don, let me say, number one, I've been to a couple of your functions, and I thought they were great. I thought you had good participation. It wasn't everybody, obviously, but everybody was having a great time. The staff here was doing a great job, was involved, and really enjoyed it. And so, you know, I'm sorry to hear this tonight, but you guys did a great job. And I think it's a momentum issue. It's going to take time to build that up. And, you know, we're all guilty that we get stuck into our own little worlds and what we do, and we got to get out. And so through advertising and stuff, and sometimes it's oh, I should have signed up on Tuesday so I could do that Friday. I didn't have it signed up, and I understand your side of it is you gotta plan for the food and all that other stuff, so it's a catch-22. But you guys did a great job, and I appreciate what you did.
I will say I didn't see that coming, Don, so I'm sorry to hear that. And I will say that I hope somebody does take up the challenge and pick up the, and do something that is new and different, and hopefully we can rally behind it. I will say we are now taking volunteers for the chair of the social. But Don, I think you gave the mic up too soon.
Can I rest in between? Let's start at the top. There you go. There you go. We've been working on the property management company to help out the board with some of the activities around here. And I wanted to thank the committee members. Sue Olson is the co-chair. Connie Krempel worked, Lee Batts worked, Tammy McDonald worked, Karen Malloy worked, and Ashley Harkins was on the team also. So we wanted to just talk about some of our objectives of the committee, talk about some of the pros and cons about using a property management committee, or company I should say, what the costs might be and what the next steps are. Next slide. So the SPORA board is looking at a way to improve communications, transparency, and service our community. So they're really doing an overall transformation. We applaud that. Presently, the board of directors is carrying out day-to-day operations for the community and might be able to use some help from a property management company. Viable option is to use a property management company to accelerate this transformation. Our charter was to look at the pros and cons of using a PCM, research some potential companies, consider capabilities and costs, brief the board on our findings, and develop a presentation for all community members. So we hope to have a membership-wide town hall meeting to discuss the pros and cons of using a property management company. Some of the pros are you're using professional expertise, so they have experience in handling day-to-day operations. Most of them have been doing it for 10 or 20 years for 10 or 20 different companies, so they have a tremendous amount of experience they bring to bear. It will save some time for the board, and hopefully if they use this resource, they can make better decisions. They also provide financial management to help with some of the collections and dues and financial reporting and things like that. They can help provide some consistency and accountability for the community rules and help bring some of our guidelines together. I know we're working on and share experience they've had with other communities. And then we hope it will improve resident relations, because right now if we have a property that's not living up to our standards, someone from the board has to approach them and it becomes a resident on resident type thing versus having a professional on the outside help enforce a rule that might be in violation. So some of the cons, of course, is cost. If you don't see any benefit in some of the things they do, cost becomes a problem. And we'll talk more about that in another slide. There's a feeling that there might be a little less control, direct control, but the board doesn't really give up control. The property management company works with the board and works under their direction. There is a variable quality of the different management companies. They all talk the talk, but not all of them can walk the walk. So you have to be careful that you get a good fit and choose wisely. Another challenge is the transition. Getting on board and getting everything converted creates quite a bit of effort on our part and on theirs. Here we go. The financial costs. We narrowed it down to 3 companies that provided a good selection of what's out there in the market. The first one, vendor A, is a financial-only company. Their cost is very low. It's about $23 a quarter per homeowner. A full-service company like B was $42 a quarter. And then there's another company, C, that also provides full services that's, almost $60 a quarter. So you can see the difference between 42 and 58 is quite a bit, and trying to determine the value that they bring, the quality that they bring will be a challenge. Also note at the bottom, photocopies, mailing services, postage, and things like that we're paying for now. They'll do some of those, and there's a charge for those that will be in addition to the monthly fees. So next step is we want to request a town hall meeting. Hopefully we can get that scheduled the next month or two and let the audience participate in that with questions and answers afterwards. And then we can move forward near the board election this fall, and then we have a neighborhood-wide vote to see if we want to engage with the property management company at all. So if the population or the members want to engage with the company, then we have to develop a list of requirements, specifically what the board wants and doesn't want, and then send out a request for proposal to qualified vendors, and we have to continue to do vetting. So in conclusion, property management company can help improve HOA operations. There is a cost to the homeowners, and there is a transition period, and we need to schedule a town hall meeting. Our committee members are offered to stay behind to answer questions for 30 minutes after things, so don't take up too much time right now. Are there any questions from the board at this time? Yes, sir.
Don, at the town hall meeting, will there be a representative from each company?
Well, we don't want a dogfight, so probably not.
Okay.
We can get a person that is a consultant to come in and answer more in-depth questions. Or we can get people from each of the representatives to do a presentation if you want.
Don, I want to thank you for putting together a brief summary. I know you guys did a lot of work on this, considering your previous presentation was about 4 times the length of this. You really did nail it down to a very good core of what we needed to pass to people. I do think that the next step is to decide what our next step is. And I think that that's a reasonable discussion for us to have here tonight. Before the board discusses it ourselves, any input about not necessarily do we want to do this or do we not want to do this, but specific questions about the process that we might be able to ask. If you have any questions of Don before we talk about what. Yes, sir.
Will there be a vote on this?
Yeah, the process I want to talk about is how do we go forward, and I think that's a great question. Is the ultimate answer, as Don has said here, there will have to be a community-wide vote. There's a couple components to that. Number one is, as he mentioned, there's got to be some sort of a town hall meeting. This is something they've looked into. They have some feelers from some companies. We've actually talked to our attorney about this. The possibility of setting up a meeting, maybe even with the attorney, have him come and discuss it, because he was quite knowledgeable about the process. But have a discussion where we talk about the pros and the cons, and we advertise it for a month, and we have a dedicated meeting for that. I think that would be a very appropriate response to your question about a town hall. And then where we go from there, I think, is another question. Ultimately, it's going to cost money, and that means a budget issue. And I have the budget on the discussion a little further down the talk. It also comes up the issue about how do we do it, and the budget has to be voted on. So I think that there's a couple of steps in the process, and the timing is really pretty spot on to try and address this if we're going to address it. in the next 3 or 4 months so that it would be on the agenda by December. Okay? Yes, Don?
Well, one interesting point I heard is that the new law firm that we hired has like 58 of their 60 clients use a property management company. That's a pretty big number, 58 out of 60.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
What would be the benefit for the homeowners to have management company? When we have talented people on the board and handle all the financial and everything regarding running the homeowners.
And you're stuck with us, right?
Yeah. No, I mean it.
I appreciate that,
It
Magda.
becomes expensive and.
I think that that's really kind of cuts right to the heart of what Don was asking about right here is the cost. If you don't perceive the value, then the cost is too much. And I appreciate that. Ultimately, we're a community of 200 homes, 190 something homes, and we're gonna have to make a decision based on what's best for all of us. So, the benefits are the benefits. They are very organized and they do exactly what Don's talking about. At the end of the day, the process of deciding to do it and how do we do it? Do we do it with a 1 year? I think that those are options that we have to think about, and I don't want that to be us making that decision. I think the Property Management Committee did a great job putting this together, but I think the town hall is really the discussion point for where we should do this. And you should talk to some of your neighbors and ask. Don't be afraid to ask Don about it, because he feels strongly that this will help the board do board things and not spend so much time in the weeds of, in the weeds, okay? Yes, sir.
Probably not the right place to ask it, but I understand the pros and cons listed there, that's cool. But is there like a specific problem that we're trying to address that we can't fix ourselves, that we need this, or?
That's a great question, and I'm gonna start by saying my gut reaction about 4 or 5 months ago was that somehow we, the board, were being challenged by some members of the community because there was a perception that we couldn't do our job for everybody in the community. And that perception was probably my own bias and my own sensitivities. When we had our meeting with the attorney, he made a comment about this. He made some very, I'm happy to share them with you, but at the end of the day, the attorney was very clear. Most of the homeowners associations have management companies. He also said most are managed by people who are C+ performers. In other words, you get somebody who is relatively inexperienced, who spends about this much of their time on your property as opposed to the other 4 properties that they're taking care of. I mean, there were a number of aspects to it. It's not as rosy an option as it appeared. On the other hand, it does take a lot of the workload of follow through on day-to-day operations and simplify it. So to answer your question, I don't know if there was a specific reason why, but when I heard the attorney talking about it, it made me realize it's not just us that are having this discussion. We need to like step above and just look at it on behalf of the whole community. Clearly, if 48 out of 50 communities are doing this, there's a reason for it. So my point is, I don't know if there's a reason behind this, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me if there is or not. It's a valid request, and we're gonna go through the process. Is that fair?
Yeah. Yeah, and to answer your question, Magda, is that one of the biggest benefits is continuity. So as the boards rotate and change, that shouldn't. If the finances all run the same, and everything else is run the same, that works and that helps. The way we are now is if something happens to Don Yoakum, our treasurer, we gotta call Connie's husband up and say, please help us, we don't know what we're doing. So we need to be a little deeper, and that will help us in that regard. I've been the president of a board without an association. I've been on a board with an association. or with a management company and then back on another one without. When you got a good team working together, it works great, but then you don't always have that, you know, as you have to rotate off after so long. So I think continuity is number one sell in my mind. And, you know, I think the next step, as we talked about, is the town hall. Everybody gets to hear. What we're looking at in our audience today is about a quarter of our population, maybe a fifth. But we gotta get everybody to understand and to understand, and so they can make a logical vote of what they would like to do.
And I understand what you're telling me, that, you know, the homeowners association, we don't have no amenities. We don't have a pool, we don't have tennis court like we used to when we first started on the west.
Right.
So what's the benefit? That's my question. And I understand that we don't have a lot of meetings, but, you know, we need to think about all that stuff.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Those associations, I'm sure that the lawyer's talking about, a lot of them have amenities, and then you have more problems with amenities. So that's one issue we don't have. But there again, we do want the continuity, and if that gets solved with electronic billing and all this other stuff, maybe that helps out. But this is for the community to decide. It's not our decision. Our decision is, oh, we're gonna allow you to have a town hall meeting. I think that's a no-brainer. So we get everybody educated, and then you all vote which one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, so there's a couple of insights right there between what I have said, what Pete has said, what Don has said. I think everybody really has to think about it and pray over it, decide whether or not this is something they want to do. I mean, if we decide as a board, and if we as a community decide, we're going to be tying people up for anywhere from $100 to $200 a year in additional fees. And is it worth it? From your perspective, is it worth it? That's your value judgment. And I think that as a community, we have to make that. I don't want that to be my decision. I certainly don't want this board making that decision ourselves. I appreciate the hard work that Don has done, and I think he's done a wonderful job and summarized. Sir.
I was just gonna say, it's more than money. I've lived in a neighborhood in Panama City Beach where we have a DMC, and I live very proud from that property. Everything from your yard isn't trimmed 100% correct, to you got a dead patch of grass, to just trim stuff that you didn't even notice. You're getting bills about it before you even got told, before you noticed it. I had a picture once of my fence that they sent me, said your fence needs to be painted. And I looked at the picture, and the picture was through one of those big grass things. You can see the fence through the pictures, but I didn't know what they were talking about. Turned out they were talking about the neighbor's fence, which was falling apart. But they were saying, I needed to fix my fence because this fence looked.
Well, the good news is you don't have to worry about that because you don't have a fence. But seriously, I don't want to make this meeting that discussion. I want to advertise, and I think, Don, I'm going to ask you is to help you and Pete come together. Let's pick a date. We'll advertise. I want to advertise it on the web. I want to try to get, everybody should try to write down. We'll put this slideshow on the website. So, yes, sir.
The slide's nice, but what I was pointing out is that doesn't show, that's maybe a tenth of the cost.
I completely agree with you. I understand exactly what you're saying. What I'm saying to you is your perception, you participating in that town hall meeting will be every bit as important to somebody like Magda or to Don to hear your experience. I don't think there are a lot of people who are not here. So I really don't want to have that discussion here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Chairman, thank you. Although, Don, I appreciate you and the committee and everything the committee did to put this option forward before the homeowners. think there's folks that wanna do that job where you're sitting at, that wanna take on this responsibility and wanna help. So before we, leap off into possibly a proposed town hall meeting, I mean, is it really needed? Do you guys really want somebody else telling you how to live versus a board made up of your own neighbors? So, just that, thanks, Sheriff. Appreciate
Well,
it.
that's actually another thought.
Sam,
Yes, sir.
Don mentioned that some members of the committee are gonna stay after this meeting. And the reason we wanted to do that was just what y'all would point out, is for y'all to give the committee members input, what are some of your questions that you would like answered at the town hall meeting? What are some issues that y'all are thinking of that we might not have thought of?
Can we send that into somebody?
Well, that's why we're staying after it, so you can give to us, Doc's got a list of committee members, and how to get a hold of one of them, if you think something tomorrow that you want brought up at the town hall meeting, that right there is something that,
Well, I mean, we need a town hall meeting.
I think what he's saying is like, is the board, the people that volunteers to do this job, do they not want to do the job? I think that's kind of what he's saying. It's like, do we need to get into that?
Okay, the historical perspective on that, and you guys are new to the community, right?
Yes, sir.
We took these jobs because we wanted to be here. This decision or this request to move forward with a property management company is something that's been behind the scenes. Previous board members had discussed it. It never came to this point. I didn't even know about it until a few months ago. But at the end of the day, I think it's got a lot of people very interested in it, and I think that we owe it to the community to try and at least do the due process on this. Education, discussion, and decision making. All right, thank you very much on that. We're gonna move forward. Thanks, Don, again. All right. Appeals Committee, Rick Horn?
He's not here.
All right. Don's not here. All right. Gate security, neighborhood watch, roads and grounds. You don't have a chairman. Chairman. All right. Anybody have an interest in helping Denny with that process? Please see Denny, contact me. Welcome Committee, Miss Tammy.
Do I have slides? Did they make it?
Let me see if I can find some slides for you. When'd you send them to me?
I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. We're running out of time. So what? So there is really great graphics by Megan Ford, which you're not going to get to see, and Isabella. So the welcoming committee, we got together and we talked about an updated welcome gift, and the things that you see in our society today are gas stations, storage facilities, and coffee shops. So that was the best option. Most people like to get together for a cup of coffee, nice friendly cup of coffee. So we picked out nice cups that you see there and a bag of coffee to go along with it. This is around the same price as the other Birds of Paradise and the bottle of wine. And we have a magnet, which was on the PowerPoint, that has all the information of all the board members. It has how to contact the police. It has every information that you would want to have. It has a Q code that will take you directly to the website. So it's easy, click on it and you're there if you want to do the survey. It's super, super easy. And that was, again, I think that Megan did that again too. So, and we welcomed one new neighbor to 860 The Masters, Ray and Mary Murray. And they've been there just a couple of weeks.
So these cups are really cute. I think they're great. Tammy asked me about them. Has any, former military here, you know the problem with the coffee mess, right? So the idea with the coffee mess, I think we're gonna have to be very careful on these, but for the time being, they're gonna be run out of the welcome committee and we'll have, we'll reimburse as the funds come back in, okay? All right, thank you, Tammy. Election committee. Now, this is one of the big items I wanted to talk about. Tammy and Brenda put together a wonderful presentation, a lot of input. Some of the former board personnel also put in a response to their report. And I think it's really worthwhile to say that it's time to move forward to the next election. So I'd like to have people get with Tammy and Brenda, and I'd like to have a meeting going, to decide how we're going to take those lessons that we learned and go forward with them for the next election. That starts with how many seats are going to be on the board, okay? How do we go through the nominating process? I think we got to get on that and get that by the next meeting. So I know there should be a lot of interest in this. If you have interest, please contact either me or Tammy and Brenda. We should be meeting at least sometime in the next couple weeks to next 2 weeks or so to have a discussion about this. And then we'll go forward with getting this set up so that everybody, hopefully everybody on all sides of the aisle, participate in the process, and we have a coming together on how this should be. Okay? Not mine, not yours, ours.
And just so you know, I think Mike Ford volunteered to help with that. Right, Mike? Sounded good.
Next major item to tackle. In the past, you may not have noticed this, but the budget was just last year's budget plussed up based on assumptions and ideas of the treasurer, maybe the vice president, the president. Now, I'm not sure that's really the best way for us to do this, especially if we're looking at a major investment in a property management committee. I'd like to have somebody work with somebody, either Pete or I as the board sponsor and somebody as the chair of the budget committee, to serve, again, in a town hall type of fashion, to have a meeting where anybody, we post it online, we can have it at somebody's house, we can get together, and we can say, I think this should be on the budget. I think we don't need this much money there. The budget shouldn't just be last year's budget thrown forward. It should show a little bit of discretion as to where we want to go with it. So with that being said, again, I don't see anybody jumping up, Mike, so maybe, all right, you want to do that?
I will volunteer.
All right, there we have the volunteer for the budget committee. Okay, that was Adam McDonald.
One thing we talked about earlier on new business, we talked about having a finance committee, whether budget or finance. And with that, we'll have some backup for Don, because he's a one-man show. So we need to have him involved in all of this. So what he has done, what he's spending, where he's spending it, and then we track it and come up with a forecast for what we need for the future. But then we have a couple of people deep, okay? So that's kind of what we talked about, but we need to modify the org chart with the election nomination committee and the.
So I move to reinstate the election committee going forward for the fall election. Anyone want to second that?
I'll second that with a comment. We talked about that because that election committee was a retrospect.
Correct.
But what we're talking about now is, let's call it a financial committee that looks for the finance.
Not fine, it's coming election.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, election.
Basically, it's an election committee for the next, this one.
Yeah.
Okay?
And do we do elections / nomination?
Well, I think nomination is part of the process that they will have to address. And I think that that process absolutely has to start with the people who know the most about it. And those people right now are Tammy and Brenda and,
Isn't there a place to
I'm sorry?
Are there guidelines that we must?
Yes,
Yes.
they're in the bylaws.
That's where we start.
They are in,
Yeah.
they are in the bylaws and they're in 720.
Right.
But the point is that we had some questions about how we did the election. And some people were over here, and some people were over here, and they didn't agree. We need to try to come together with doing it as close to 720, which supersedes our bylaws, as possible. But a lot of people have spent a lot of time reading up on this, and those are the people that I think we need to start with in this committee. And anyone can participate. So it sounds like you're interested.
No, not at all, but I just heard there's a starting point
Okay.
that already exists.
Yes, we're not creating anything new here, absolutely not. The only thing that we're creating is the fact that we're not just gonna wait till November to ask for nominations. We're gonna become proactive and based on our experience from a few months ago, try and do this in a way that gives more credibility to the process. And likewise, we are, so anyone second it? All in favor, 4-0. And then the second one would be I'm calling it a budget. You want budget or finance? Finance? Okay.
Budget is part of finance.
Okay, so finance committee, we'll call it a finance committee, we'll add these, I move that we, create a finance committee. Okay? All right, so both those have to be added to the org chart, we have to get, so Adam is on for the finance. All right, beautification committee, Brenda, Pete, the survey, I misspelled it, I apologize.
Sure.
The beautification
Stay
survey
there, I'll
was a
bring it to you.
wonderful thing on the website. I guess we kind of picked a color.
And that is, I wish everyone could participate in that. You go into shallowpoint.net and you get right into our website and you're taken right to the menu, go to the right side, and you will see a whole list of the whole menu. It's very, very user friendly. So the pink survey is there. And there are 4 colors there, all right, that match some of the blues that we have. We need a different color now. Everything is faded, paint's chipping, things need to be redone. And we probably need a budget on that. But we'll get to that later. So I wanted to tell you that so far, only 34 homeowners actually went in and did the survey. So please tell your neighbors, please try to go in and participate, because that's what we want. We want the community to participate in everything, so that we can choose a paint color that everybody wants. So, and I told you how to get into the Shalimar Point website. I also wanted to say thank you to Tracy Stage for removing the fronds from the extremely tall palm tree. We were wondering how even a machine could even go that high, and Tracy told me he climbed up, and I said, did you really? Wow, but he didn't. He borrowed some type of equipment and did it. So I really appreciate it. Okay, so the next step for we do have a new member of our beautification committee, and that is Kelly Stage. So right now we have Magda, myself, and Kelly, and unsure about one other person. And the goal is to have a meeting to go through all of the areas that we have and see what needs to be done in all of the areas that are owned by Shalimar Point. Also, I just wanted to say something about the gatehouse. Many of you have seen the TV in the window. I mean, I haven't even seen it because I go through there during the day, and many peak traffic is during the day. So, did you ever see it? Okay, well, and I think it was a wonderful idea, Pete, that you did that, because we learned a lot from that.
Yes.
That really putting it in the window is too far from the road, for one thing, and the distance and the size. And the TV cannot be viewed in the morning and afternoon when traffic is at its peak. And regular consumer TVs are 300 to 500 nits, which is too dim for outside visibility. Commercial outdoor displays are 2,000 nits, and that's a big difference. So what my goal is in that, in being in that, I want to research the vendors to evaluate our entrance and make recommendations. And what we have is a good start, but I think that we need some professionals to help us.
And here I was going to thank you for doing that. I thought it looked great. I actually saw this meeting advertised there, and I think it was during the daytime that I could see it. So I'm sorry you're not happy with it. I actually think it's a proof of concept. It proved a lot of things, and I think it was a great start.
And one of the things we talked about earlier is that with the right color slides, the right fonts, it will show. Could it be better? Sure, it could be better. But is it reasonable? Very reasonable. $138, and we're up and running. So, anyway.
But yes, I just have to tell you that research shows that your TV's gonna last 6 months to 18 months.
And you know what's going to happen in 18 months? It's going to be $98 to replace it. So, that's not bad.
If you can't see during the day.
Okay. We can agree to disagree on something. It could be better. If we find a better one, we'll get a better one.
I just want something professional, please.
Okay, get out your checkbook. I got out my checkbook. You get out.
I think this is a good first start, and I welcome other people to have some more input to it. Right now, let's try and use it and make sure that we're satisfied with the idea. A proof of concept. Golf course. You actually made the slideshow now.
Okay, thanks. Hey, real quick, I just want to remind everybody, especially new people in the neighborhood, we all pay money here to support the golf course. So feel free to, everybody's entitled to come out and use our practice facilities after 2 p.m. Just check in with the pro shop, if you will, and then every household gets 2 free rounds of golf per quarter. So come on out and have a good time, enjoy yourselves. You don't have to worry about whether you're good or not any good. There's a guy here that covers the not so good anyway, but that's okay. But come on out, and then if you can, come out and join us sometime for lunch here. Believe it or not, we have very good pizza here. Donna does a good job, but thanks again for your support. And again, you're paying for part of the club. Come out and take advantage of it, and you'll make some new friends out here, and then team up and go out and play with some other people that you might not know. So thank you. That's all we got.
All right, Magda did not ask to speak, but I wanted to thank her. She sent us an email, and I think probably one of the more important things that I've seen in this past couple months is we had a little bit of a tough situation over the last couple months about this basketball hoop. And we found some way to compromise, and I think people are generally happy with it. At least one of the parties involved thanked us at the last meeting, and Magda, the other party involved, thanked us now too. So I think it's working, and I thank you very much for sending the email.
It's appreciated. Not only me, but Shalimar Lane, all the neighbors that appreciate that.
I will point out that if you didn't know, I'm a neurosurgeon, so I do brain surgery. And recently, I heard we had a young child, 10-year-old, wipe out on an e-bike out in front of my house. I will tell you, I have noticed over the past half-dozen years that e-bikes have become a tremendous source of morbidity and mortality. Yes, dying. From the people driving them because they can't get a driver's license because of alcohol-related issues, to the children riding them without helmets. If you are riding e-bikes, remember, they're 35 miles an hour and you're driving like a moped. I mean, it's still a very dangerous thing. And if you're getting one for your kid, think about it. I'm not going to tell you you have to get a helmet. I'm going to tell you that I take care of people with helmets and without helmets. And you know, I don't know that I want to be legislating that we can or cannot have e-bikes and whether they're going to be 16 or 18 years old. But I do want people to be aware that there's a lot of people being hurt with e-bikes. And there's also some kind of maybe a little bit sketchy driving of golf carts by children who may not necessarily be, say, 16 or 18. I'm not stopping them and looking for a driver's license, but I am asking you to supervise and make sure that driving is safe. Alibis, saved rounds.
He had a list of 4 people.
What's that?
A list of 4 people. Carl, who wanted to speak?
Okay, we have Mike Ford, Tammy McDonald, Adelaide Harris, and Marie Allian as to speak.
Mike? You still want to talk? You want to get another job?
No, I can table this. I want to get the cart before the horse with the election committee, getting that established. And then my only thing was maybe possibly adding in the features, an additional ability outside of a paper ballot, maybe electronic voting is now authorized and allowed, not mandatory. Just throwing it out as an option to explore for future elections for people that either don't live here, can't make the vote. Again, I don't want to get into all the brass tacks. It's just like the PMC. There's companies that provide that service. It's based on the size of the community. It's fairly inexpensive. We can bring that up at a different time. But after Shane and I and the board movement with the election committee, I'll table it for that, and it should come out probably more appropriate to come out of that committee.
Actually, I want to thank you for bringing that up. 2 things about that. One is we believe that is an item that can be tackled in a fairly facile way with the website, right?
Well, sure, just like paintball. I don't know if the council,
But we get into the legal aspects of the vote, and we get into some other aspects of it. I will tell you, the most important part of this was brought to my attention a couple months ago by one of our members. And it's actually incorrect on the website. We need to fix it. When you register online, you must opt in to receive everything via email. We can't make the default position for you to receive email. This is a process we have to work out online. The website says that you can opt out. That's not accurate. The law says that we have to allow you the opportunity to opt in, and we also have to have you sign a waiver. And previous board had a process for that, was not quite good enough. So it is definitely a process. I think it's a great idea, Mike, and I love your leadership in this process.
And we find a decision to say yes or no.
All right.
Adam,
Who's next, Carl?
Adam,
Who's next, Carl?
Tammy?
no,
Tammy?
Adam was gonna speak.
Oh, okay. Adelaide?
Ellen?
It's already been done.
All right, Marie?
I feel as if I'm going to be continuing what you just said about the e-bikes. I want to tell you something that I have witnessed 3 times in the last week here at Shalimar Point. When darkness comes, I would say between 7 and 7:30 to 8:30, there is a man that I have seen on the Masters Boulevard on a scooter, and he flies like the wind. Don't know if it's motorized. He has no light on the front of it. He has no helmet. So speaking for him, he's, and if you were to tell me, I would say without measuring, it would be probably 35 miles an hour. Twice I have been with Mary Jane Robinson, and she walks her dog at night. And he flew right by her and the dog. Within the last 48 hours, in other words, yesterday, and then the day before, I was in my driveway about 8:30, and he whizzed right by my driveway. He can be hit, or he can hit a vehicle, but above all, people that like to walk on the Masters Boulevard, they will be killed if he ever does. So what can the board do? Can you have the sheriff come in and sit and wait for him?
Is there a time he comes?
Yes, I just said, I just said between 7 and 7:30 in the evening till about 8:30.
So if we hurry up, we can catch him.
So would the board, would you bring that to the sheriff's attention?
I would ask you to do so, Marie.
Don't you think that the Shalimar Point Homeowners Association coming as homeowners?
If anybody knows who he is, or where he goes, we can certainly go visit him. But we don't have any jurisdiction over we can't stop it.
It's Florida, you don't need, I mean, the rules on this really are very, very wide open, Marie, I'm telling you. I don't think it's an easy situation. You don't need a driver's license. You don't need a helmet.
I don't want to be hit by him.
I understand, and if you feel threatened, then
I
you
feel
have,
threatened.
then you have you can say something to the police about it. And I would agree with you. We've mentioned it here.
And if anybody else knows or anything, they can contact us.
Connie, you live on the Masters Boulevard, you probably not, but I'm telling you, between 7 and 7:30 to 8:30, he flies down the Masters. He comes by my house, down by Joe Newell, and then comes back by our house again. So be careful. So, your recommendation is for me to go to the
I would
sheriff?
say talk to the sheriff. I don't have a name, I don't have anyone to talk to. If we start a community watch and go over and sit there and watch for him, I mean, it's a quagmire for the community to get involved in something like that, Marie. I mean, if it's.
This is not a community issue, this is a sheriff's issue.
I agree. So you can call the sheriff on it.
All right.
All right. Tracy, you had typically we ask that you ask for the option to speak and email that in, but please, go ahead.
Thanks, Chairman, I apologize about that. And like I said, I'm new to the neighborhood.
No problem.
Tracy Stage, 851, Masters, my beautiful wife Kelly Stage over here. I just wanted to, sir? No, I know who you all are talking about, the taller, younger fellow. He does fly by my house often. That said, Chairman, I just got a couple comments and maybe a proposed action for the board's consideration this evening.
But before I do that, I want to say that the last meeting, you recognized Mrs. Royster for her efforts at the front gate. And I'm gonna tell you, the flowers are beautiful. It looks outstanding. And I'm very proud of this neighborhood. I'm proud to live here. We love this neighborhood. We love what we're hearing and we want to be involved. That said, I'm obviously, coming through the documents and whatnot, and I know we got an election coming up. I just want to bring to the board's attention, there's some conflicts and some inconsistencies, and specifically in the Declaration of Covenants. So I would highly recommend, and actually proposed action for the board, possibly put together a committee to I'm sorry, sir, give me just 1 second. Forgive me, taking me off the key here, but I appreciate you. But just looking at it, who has an iPhone 15 here? Right, 15, 14? The Declaration of Covenants were last updated when iPhone 3 was released, 17 years ago. The amendment, they were amended in 2008, bypassed and covered over and carried forward by extension in 2019. 17 years have passed. I think a lot of the issues and whatnot that I'm hearing can probably be solved with some updating to the covenants, for sure. Leading on down through the bylaws. We're talking election, specifically called out in the covenants, but a lot of inconsistencies and conflicts arise directly to the state statutes in 720. Specifically, I ran them through an AI generator, and I got matrices to provide, but nevertheless, I just wanted a couple comments. I'm so proud to come through this front gate every day and leave through the front gate every day. And I'm very proud of this community. I love the neighbors. I know a lot of folks that live out here. I mean, shoot, Mr. Royster, it's been 17 years since I've seen you, sir. But great friends, great neighbors, and I'm happy to serve. But I do wish to put that on the agenda either tonight or at the next meeting. Let's put a committee together and look at these covenants before there's other issues that I know about that the board is facing right now with current properties and specifically with the county and whatnot. So I offer that back to you, Chairman. Thank you for the time. Thank you, Vice Chairman, and Ms. Royster, front house of community. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other save grounds?
And we did talk about that, and I only want to follow up on that for a second, because we talked about the document review and what if we need a special committee, or if we have a committee that can fall under, to where we can review those, because some of us have had CPD chat go through and compare the documents and come up and talk about where there's discrepancies between the two. And it's our job to try to get that straight.
I agree. That's part of the reason why I ran for this, but I have not wanted to make my agenda the board's agenda. I mean, this issue about, if you don't know, Tracy, the reason I'm here is because about 3 years ago, I put up a fence. And I got smacked down. So, as a result of that, I got involved. And at the end of the day, I agree with you. The covenants are old and they're conflicting and they're not particularly, they're not a coherent document. The bylaws have not been revised in years, and the architectural standards, I think, was 2016?
2016.
Yeah, it's a decade since the bylaws and just shy of a decade on the architectural standards.
And from my perspective, the review process for the document should probably be done about every triannually, about every 3 years. The board should have a review process, say, do we agree with this? That process is not in place. And so I think you bringing that up is a great idea. And we've actually had a little discussion. It was a sidebar with the attorney. It's an option that they can do. That will cost money. But do I think there's value in there? Yes, I do. I think, we've had issues with covenants, I got into a debate at a special meeting a couple weeks ago, or a week ago, with an attorney about whether a dwelling was, about what constituted the need for a setback. I mean, there's a lot of leeway in covenants. And so, to answer your question, or to answer your comment, thank you for bringing it up. This board feels strongly that our documents are in need of refreshing. And I think that it'd be a worthwhile endeavor, along with the election, and perhaps going into next year, to define a process for reviewing the documents, if we can get a groundswell of interest, because I don't want this to be my opinion or Carl's opinion. I think we need to really approach it from the perspective of what's in the best interest of the community.
I agree.
Chairman, I would like to add to that, I mean, it's a risk factor as well, right, to the board and to the community. If we got documents that are out there that are governing how we're operating and living, that are, 17 years old, that's a huge risk to me, whether it's your situation or not. I hope you got your fence. I want a fence too. I got a little dog. We just need some standard specifications that no wood, whatever. I'm just saying we need to update them because we're all at risk if we don't.
And what I'd like to do is, I'd like to make a motion that we start a document review committee. We put Tracy as the chair, and I know there's some other folks that have already started this that can work with him, and let them start and report back to us on where they see problems, and we'll see how it proceeds through the year. What I brought up early, before you showed up, is the fact of the appreciation that I was showing for this community jumping in and helping us. We can't do all these things we're doing without the help of this community, and they're all getting involved, and that allows us to move farther, quicker, faster. And so I applaud you for doing that, Tracy.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Vice Chairman, I appreciate that. So, am I understanding that board action tonight, that you guys voted to make me the chairman of the committee?
We got a motion right
got a
now.
motion.
We haven't voted yet. If you sit down for 5 more minutes, you'll
I'm
hear.
trying to hear back here.
Okay, we'll let you know if you win.
Standing by.
Any discussion?
Who is going to be
The board.
You be the board. Okay. I mean, I think that's a standard we're setting, is that there's going to be a chairman and there's going to be a board rep or sponsor, and then there's got to be a process. The last thing the answer to your question is, I don't have any other questions. If he wants the job, I'm happy to.
Okay, and I think there's some people that will help you. Vote?
Okay. Aye.
Okay, now you're in.
All right. The last comment I wish to make, if you are involved, if you are a chairman, I get really boring listening to myself speak. Please send me your slides. Please send me, and I will do my best to update it. Don got me his slideshow. I was able to put that up. So that would be my preferred way of getting this on a monthly basis. If you meet, great. If you don't meet, just send me a note and say we're not meeting. There's nothing new. Okay.
Okay, on my slide was the picture of the magnet with all the information and the price. There was different pricing that I wanted to get board approval on, to pick one. So
Pricing for what?
for the magnets, there were different sizes, a 5 by
Us to buy
5.
them or sell them or what?
No, for us to buy them to go in the gift.
Oh,
So
do you have a budget?
No, I have no budget. I'm under social, so.
Okay. Do you have a budget? Oh, you're not the social one.
Yeah.
Okay,
You have Carl as your rep.
Right.
We'll work it out.
Right.
Okay,
We'll get it done.
okay, because that was.
You used up your time. Just kidding. What's up?
Chairman, I'm sorry, and then I'll leave it alone. I just want a little bit of clarification. So I'm the chairman of this committee.
We can meet and talk about that.
Okay.
We're actually going to give you a letter.
What's the name of the committee?
Document review committee, that's what he said.
So I'll propose a calendar for the process and follow the federal proposed rulemaking process.
We can check.
But to the extent that you're having these meetings, the understanding is that the meetings will be open to the community, and the best way to advertise them will either be on the front sign or get them to the website committee, and that goes for all members. I want people to get involved, and if you give them the opportunity and they don't take advantage of it, that's a different story. But I do think what you're doing is valuable, and I want to support it.
So I'm just looking for committee members.
Okay, we'll get you some.
All right. Next meeting is September